Some spies came to trap Jesus with a question. Is it right for us to pay taxes to Caesar or not? But Jesus perceived their craftiness, so he said unto them, Show me a denarius, whose portrait and inscription are on it. Caesar's, they replied. He said unto them, Then give to Caesar what is Caesar's, and to God what is God's.
Novus Ordo Seclorum is actually a line from the ancient Roman poet Virgil, meaning a new order of the ages. The floating eye is the eye of providence, a symbol that has been used throughout history to represent God watching over us. Some people will tell you that the eye is the symbol of the Illuminati or the Freemasons and represents their influence in our government. Annuit Septis translates to, He has favored our undertaking.
On May 1st, 1776, the Order of the Illuminati was founded. The real-world Illuminati operated from 1776 until 1785. Their symbol was an odd-looking Owl of Atlantis, or Owl of Minerva, as it's also called, the symbol of knowledge.
Over here in the corner there appears to be an owl.
And if you believe the historians, the Illuminati were quickly wiped out.
Equifax is the oldest of the three credit bureaus. Equifax began in a Tennessee grocery store in 1898. They compiled a list of customers considered to be creditworthy and distributed that list to other business owners for a fee. Demand was immediate, the business grew, new branches opened, and the company incorporated in 1913. In 1974, the Retail Credit Company found itself in the crosshairs of the Federal Trade Commission following the 1971 passage of the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Retail Credit Company became Equifax in 1979. The name derives from equitable, factual information. Next up on the list is going to be Experian. TRW finally entered the credit reporting industry in 1968 with the acquisition of a business in San Francisco called Credit Data. It quickly became one of the 5 leading U.S. credit agencies. They renamed the company to Experian, and by the mid-1980s they held the credit histories of 90 million American consumers and have secured themselves as one of the top 3 credit bureaus. Transunion is the smallest of the 3 largest credit agencies. Transunion was born in 1968. In 2002, Transunion acquired TrueCredit.com, making its entry into the direct-to-consumer market. Then, in 2010, Goldman Sachs Capital Partners and Advent International acquired Transunion. Today, Transunion compiles and aggregates data and information on more than 1 billion consumers across more than 30 countries.
In God We Trust was adopted as the official motto of the United States in 1956.
In 1956, engineer Bill Fair teamed up with mathematician Earl Isaac to create Fair, Isaac & Company. Within 2 years, they had begun selling their first credit scoring system. The current FICO score system debuted in 1989 and has become the industry standard. It is a number between 300 and 850 determined by the following factors: payment history, amounts owed, length of credit history, types of credit used, and recent credit inquiries. Having a good credit score can help you get a lower interest rate on all sorts of loans, get you better rates on car insurance, you'll have better odds of getting approved for the apartment you're trying to rent, and the list goes on and on.
A bad credit score can not only interferes with you getting a loan or a credit card, it can also prevent you from getting a job. The status of your credit report gives the employer an idea of how dependable you are likely to be. Or getting an apartment. Most landlords do credit check to see if potential tenants are financially responsible.
One of the most important parts of your entire financial foundation is your FICO score. Your FICO score determines the interest rates that you pay on car loans, credit cards, mortgages, whether you get a cell phone, whether a landlord will rent to you, many times if an employer will hire you. It has to do with everything.
In the early 2000s, consumers were able to buy their credit scores for the first time with the launch of MyFICO.com.
Before the FICO score, credit was determined based on the character of the consumer.
To earn credit, first you have to develop your character. You have to be trustworthy.
Credit scores aren't just used by banks, though. They're used by lots of entities, from insurance companies to landlord. Credit scores are calculated based on information gathered from multiple sources, but mainly based on your credit report, which is a record of your credit history. The credit report contains information from lending institutions, collection agencies, and even the government.
People would really be shocked if they knew that as they went through their day, purchasing things, using their credit card, signing a check, putting their name on some piece of paper, and ultimately that information is being scooped up behind them. Here comes the credit bureau with a little dust tray and a broom, and they're scooping up information behind them that is then used to derive the numerical assessment.
Based on this information, your credit score is calculated through an algorithm.
They portray it as being like the Coca-Cola formula, that each of their algorithms are akin to the Coca-Cola formula. But in reality, they want to keep it secretive because they don't want to be attacked on the basis of discrimination or to be shown that there is some defective logic behind it.
Which varies from country to country, as well as from institution to institution.
Well, it's a continuous fight to get at the inner workings of the credit scoring process. Their objective is to simply satisfy the furnisher of information, the user, the industry.
And do keep in mind that a lot of countries don't even have a credit score system. In the United States, your credit score is mostly calculated based on credit report information from the top 3 bureaus: Equifax, Experian, and Transunion. These 3 operate the annual creditreport.com website, through which Americans can request up to 3 free credit reports per year, one from each bureau. This is because the Fair and Accurate Credit Transactions Act gives U.S. citizens the right to receive that information free of charge.
Consumers, they think they have privacy. I mean, if I walked up to you on the street and I said, well, tell me about your right to privacy from me or from a company as a private individual, you'd say, well, the Constitution. No, the Constitution doesn't provide you a right to privacy from me. It provides you a right to privacy from the government. If I want to get in your hair and study everything about you, where is your right to privacy from me? And the fact is, you don't have a constitutional right.
Paul admonishes us to be obedient to our masters or to the governments, and to speak evil of no man, but be gentle and meek to all men, especially to the rulers. For in the last days there are only 2 groups of people. Those who retain the character or the image of the beast are full of debates, wraths, and strifes, while on the other side are the people who has the image of God, the patience of the saints, and they that love their enemies.
The financial capital of America, home to hundreds of investment firms, but whose thinking is sought by corporations and governments, who is quoted almost every day in America's business press, who always has time to help any investor of any size. You know who. There are lots of investment firms, but there's only one, Merrill Lynch.
Then I saw another beast come up out of the earth. He had 2 horns like those of a lamb, and he spoke with the voice of a dragon. He exercised all the authority of the first beast, and he required all the earth and those who belong to this world to worship the first beast. He ordered the people of the world to make a great statue of the first beast. He was permitted to give life to this statue so that it could speak. Then the statue commanded that anyone refusing to worship it must die. He required everyone, great and small, rich and poor, slave and free, to be given a mark on the right hand or on the forehead.
It is possible that the technology we are seeing today represents the beginning stages of what may eventually be used as the mark of the beast.
Your FICO score determines the interest rates that you pay on car loans, credit cards, mortgages, whether you get a cell phone, whether a landlord will rent to you, many times if an employer will hire you.
And no one could buy or sell anything without that mark.
It has to do with everything.
Let the one who has understanding solve the number of the beast. For it is the number of a man. His number is 666.